4000. Back in school life, one day I was working in my computer. I was drawing random anime characters in Photoshop. And every once in a while, I was saving my Photoshop file. But in this one instance, during my saving process, the electricity went off. And later when I opened my file, it was corrupted. And I was so angry at it, I smashed my monitor. My mom saw this and she smashed my head. Now these sort of thing happens. You can lose your files you can lose your file. But let's say you're working on a file for months and months, and then if you lose it, that would be devastating. And it's not only about backup. Sometimes you're working on a file and then you are in a critical position, you are in a position where you feel comfortable with the file. But then you change some few codes and then the entire thing breaks and you're wondering if there's any option you can go back 3 hours ago when everything was fine. And I get it, you can solve this problem by keeping different iterations of file, different version of your file. But what if you're working with your friends or collaborating with someone? Here's an example. Let's say you're working on a file and you want to hire, you want your friend help from your friend, so you send him the latest version. And then while he's working, you also make some progress. And then you decide to get another friend involved, so you send him the latest file. And while this is happening, you also do some more progress, and suddenly your friend sends back the updated file that you requested. Now you have no idea how to merge all these files together. And even if you want to merge them, it would be a very difficult process to go through all these files and find the exact files. And even it could happen that both of your friends might have worked on the same document, same line of code. It can conflict one another, and you have no idea who to choose. And even if you want to validate all this, it would be very difficult to find all that. And this is just 4 or 5 people. Imagine if you have $1 million software you're working on, and hundreds of people are working on it. And it would be very difficult to manage all these things and the file. And that is why we have GitHub. GitHub is a version control file management system, a collaborative system. And first impression, GitHub looks very professional. It has 2 themes, light and dark, with very little amount of color in use, which gives it very minimalistic and simple look. But it is not simple, don't get me wrong. It is intended towards programmers and software engineers, and it's really difficult to get your head around GitHub. You have to look through quite a lot of YouTube tutorials in order to do that. But this is the basic idea. You create something called repository. It's basically your project file, and the file could be both public or private. And then when you open your repository, you can see the last changes of the files in it. And then there's a magical thing called branches. So basically you have the main timeline of your project, and then your friend or your worker can clone a version of their own project, and then they can make their own changes, and then they can pull a request and ask you to merge it to the original timeline. And the magical part is you don't have to worry about the merging process. GitHub takes care of it. GitHub knows exactly which code was there before and which exact code was added or which code was subtracted down to the last minute line, which is a very nice thing that GitHub, since GitHub knows exactly which file was deleted, every time it creates a new version, it doesn't have to copy-paste the entire file. It only adjusts that one specific file, which is a very clever file management.
Okay, Himel. From the audience, is there any question from Mr. Himel?
Yes,
Okay, first, Alvi.
As you have mentioned, this website is good for the programmers. So my question is kind of out of box. If you were a programming language, or if you ever describe yourself as a programming language, what would it be and why?
If I describe myself as a programming language.
Because I consider you as a robot. So please tell me.
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
If you
If
ever
I want to describe myself as a programmer,
if you were a
Programming language.
or you
if I was a programming language, I would be
JavaScript.
I like to be difficult.
Snake.
I don't agree.
Mr. Rahim, what is your question?
So you know about GitLab.
Yes, I do.
So what are the key differences and why do you think,
I have.
why do you think GitHub is more generally mainstream or
Thanks for your question. I used GitLab, but not that much. The only beautiful difference I found between GitLab and GitHub is that GitHub only tells you which lines were changed. GitLab tells you even the syntax. If there is a semicolon that was changed, he highlights that, which is a very beautiful thing. GitLab says in its website that it's 7 times faster than GitHub. I don't know how much accurate that is, but GitLab is good. But since GitHub is the popular one, I prefer to use it. Both are good. Both are well respected.
Oh, nice. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together.